If you have created flashcards, combination exercises, or picture descriptions, you will of course want to practice them as well. The best way to do this is by using the practice plan. The practice plan contains all your elements, and you can set what you want to practice and how often, so that you only need to tap one button and can practice all the elements scheduled for today at once. In this tutorial, I will briefly show you how this works. You can access the practice plan from the home screen by tapping on Exercises and then selecting Practice Plan at the top. You will also see the question mark icon in the top right corner, as in every screen. I highly recommend reading this section once. There, you will find the help text, which explains every area and helps you better understand what the practice plan is. The first time you use the app, you need to activate the practice plan. To do this, turn on the switch in the top right corner. This will activate the entire screen. Down below, you see different sections where you can set up specific commands for the practice plan. Each section has its own small gray eye icon in the top right corner. Tap it to get more information about this section and read how it works. In the practice plan, you can tap the Practice button at the top to start practicing the elements for that day. This allows you to go directly into the practice plan and practice all the elements scheduled for today at once. When the practice plan is active, you also find the Practice section directly on top of the iceberg when you tab on the iceberg in the home screen. The practice plan defines every day the elements which need to be practiced for that day. In doing so, he takes into account all the parameters I have defined below. Below that, you will see a switch that is turned off by default. If you turn it on, the practice plan will also be displayed on the home screen, where you usually see the daily streak. This way, you can always keep an eye on your plan and start practicing directly from the home screen. Below that, you will see the first section. Here, you can set how many days it should take to repeat all your elements. For example, if you set it to 7 days, it means that if you practice every day, you will have practiced each element once within those 7 days. But don't worry, if you miss a day, all the days will simply be shifted back by 1 day. Below that, you will also see a direct calculation of how many elements you will practice per day. This is the basic setting. You can already start practicing, but you can also customize the practice plan much further if you want. For example, there are type repetitions. The type repetitions determine how often a specific type of element should be repeated additionally. For example, I can set flashcards to 2 times, which means that flashcards will be practiced twice as often within the 7 days we defined above. If I leave everything at 1, then each type will simply be practiced once within the 7 days. Under Priorities, you can now define that elements with a success rate below a certain percentage will be repeated more often. For example, if I set the success rate to below 70% and repetitions to 2, it means that within the 7 days, all elements with a success rate below 70% will be repeated twice, so twice as often. The same applies to attempts. If I set attempts to below 10 and repetitions to 2, it means that all elements that have been practiced fewer than 10 times will also be repeated twice within the defined time period. If you want to check out the success rate of your elements, have a look in the iceberg. Another way for customization is the level focus. It is a very good way to practice specific levels from the iceberg. If you are not familiar with the iceberg yet, make sure to watch the tutorial about it, as it is one of the core elements of this app and the GPA concept. The iceberg has 5 levels, and each element moves up step by step as you learn it better. Here, you can define that elements on a specific level are also practiced more often. If I select Level 2 and long press it, I can set that all elements on Level 2 will be repeated twice within the defined time period, for example, within the 7 days. At the bottom, there are keywords. This is also a very powerful way to either exclude or especially focus on certain elements. Under Add Keyword, you can select specific keywords. For example, I can select Animal, and now I can define how often all elements with this keyword should be repeated. If I tap on the number 1, I can set that these elements should be repeated 3 times. If I now look at the top, I can see under Keywords how many elements per day will be practiced. This is especially useful if you have specific elements with keywords that you want to focus on more often. If I now turn on the switch, Practice Only Selected, it means that only the elements with the selected keywords will be practiced. Now I can see at the top that only these elements are included in the practice plan. But I can also exclude keywords. If I tap on the green check mark, it will turn red, which means that this keyword will never be included in the practice plan. As you can see, the practice plan offers many possibilities to optimize your learning experience. Take your time to explore it and adjust it exactly the way you want. Once it is set up, you only need to open the practice plan each day and simply follow the suggested flashcards, combination exercises, and picture descriptions. This way, you will always be well prepared and practice exactly the elements you need, the ones you want to focus on more often, and the ones that are most important to you. Feel free to check out the other tutorials if you want to learn more about the app. There is a lot to discover. Enjoy using the GPA Flashcards app.